Their Majesties welcome Duke Tarek Alfson, companion of the Laurel, into their court.
Your Majesties.
Your Grace. Grace.
At 12th night, my lady wife made a request.
She did.
And you seem to concur that that was a good idea. I am here today to reiterate that request. Not only on the recommendations of the Laurels, but judging from the crowd's reaction, the recommendations of the people of Northshield. Therefore, I beg a boon.
Be a right and proper thing and within our power shall be granted.
Then I would request, Your Majesties, that you elevate Typhaine and Corydon to the Order of the Laurel.
Please.
Masters and mistresses of the Laurel, present yourselves before their Majesties.
Masters and mistresses of the Laurel, do you concur Typhaine and Corydon to be elevated to your order?
Aye!
Please.
Their Majesties summon Corydon Rathbone and Typhaine Arandiel, vigilance for the Laurel, before them.
I don't want to see. No, stand out now. I was commenting that the pattern matches perfectly. And then she also said it matches perfectly on his butt.
Like you do.
We ask at this time that the personal regalia for Corydon be brought forth, that it may be passed through the hands of those companions of the Laurel here present, so that the order is with him always, from this moment forward, and that he may remember this moment and these words forevermore.
Is there a royal peer?
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Is there a royal peer to speak for Corydon?
Yes, there is, Your Majesties. I, Vladimir Radishkin, Weiss, and future King of Northshield. That we look for in there are many qualities that we look for in royal peers. To me, the one that we should and must exemplify more than any others is inspiration. It is by our deeds and our actions that we inspire others to do better and be more than they were before. Corydon doesn't even know this, but our relationship began several years before we met. I began my tutelage in the arts martial under Kenneth DeCatso. And sitting at his knee during my formative years, I heard many, many fine stories of his squire brothers, their exploits on the field. I proudly carried a rathbone axe for my first 3 years in melee until I moved on to the one true weapon. And hearing those great stories of his squire brothers, I thought there could be nothing better than being one of Sarah's squires myself. And then 3-4 years after hearing all these stories, I met Corydon for the first time. I thought you'd be taller. Typhaine and Corydon at events. One of the places I really hope you got to see them was at our crown tourney at this event. They were the most beautiful couple, bar none. I would have been proud to have stood in their entourage with their period garb and their period presentation and the wheelbarrow. By their efforts with their arts, they have inspired me, and I hope they have inspired you all to be more than we are today. Your Majesty, I hope someday I can be their peer and I commend them to you.
We ask Sir Teoward to attest to Corydon's honor.
Thank you, Your Majesties. As a knight, we are to seek excellence in all we do, on and off the field, and not for our own good, but for those of others. I've known Corydon not as long as some, but we have fought and supported each other in many a crown tournament. I found myself looking forward to the period flavors that he would bring to the list. And his armor was always excellent, his entourage always perfect, and his presence was something that I always want to achieve to get to. When I found an interesting fact about Corydon that most people may not know is that I talked to Count Valerius, and he was one of the first people to ask the Tower of London for a facsimile of the I-33, which is why he fights in a period style. Corydon has been a boon to the kingdom far before I met him. As with His Grace, I too have 2 Corydon rubber axe heads that I have been fighting with for the majority of my fighting career. I have camped next to the Rathbone family a few times, and I always feel like a lowly hedge knight. Because their camp looks like something out of a 14th century woodcut. His Excellency also told me Corydon used to come over to his shop back in the day to work on his armor and his accessories, but they also built many period shoes and sold them to get folks fighting in period shoes rather than tennis shoes and combat boots. He always looks correct on the field and off the field, and pattern match. So Corydon, I feel, exemplifies the bringing one's level, excellence, if you will, to the game for the betterment of all of us, for the enjoyment of all of us. So with that, I offer these 2 as peers. They're definitely my peers. Someday I would like to actually be a peer of theirs in my entourage, my camping, my garden. So they have, with that, I think they'll make a wonderful addition to the order.
Baroness Bridget Casey, will you speak Corydon's service?
It would be my great honor. Of the speakers today, I perhaps have known Corydon the longest, even longer than his beloved wife. I first met this kind gentleman at a Penzig, one of the early Penzigs, where he was the one who had the period pavilion, complete with the chandelier inside. I was still camping in a nylon tent. And of course, being Penzig, there was a storm, and we were all worried about blowing over, and he was going, well, mine's not going to blow over, so if people don't have a place to stay, of course, they can all come and, sleep in my tent. It wasn't until later, and much has been said of Corydon's appearance, that I learned he also sleeps in an appropriately medieval fashion. great example. I commend him to you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
You asked.
Would Master Guillaume of the Masters of Defense speak on his joie de vivre?
It is with honor that I bring you Sir Guillaume's words this morning. Unto their stellar majesties, doth Guillaume Lefort, Master of Defense, companion of the Laurel and Knight, send courteous and dutiful greetings. Of the many tasks which I have done in my time in society, I have focused on two, metalwork and defense, because of time constraints, and that they bring me the most joy. We require much of our peers. Do we require joy? To do so would be redundant. In Corydon, I see joy. Joy in his craft and in this game that we all play. It brings me joy to commend it to you.
Your Excellency, Baroness Khadijah, would you like to speak to this call?
I, Baroness Caitlin of Rosemary Topping, called in the bosom of my family, in the barony of Nordskogen, in the kingdom of the Middle, and in the kingdom of the Northshield, blessed be the heralds, Khadijah, would speak of the Honorable Lord Corydon Rathbone. During my first year in the society, as I began my travels through the current Middle Ages, I attended Penzig War 23 in Annus Hospitatis 29. It's 1994, 24 years ago, for those who want to do the math. There I saw a pavilion so beautiful that I committed it to my memory. In front was a distinctive blue and red checked surcoat, displayed on fine armor, with shields and weapons and silk banners. I was inspired. Someday I too would have a pavilion that looked like it belonged in illumination. Then I met the owner of the pavilion, Corydon Rathbone. He was charming, handsome, courteous, and filled with joy and laughter. Over the years, as we became friends, I saw that he always strived to always look and act on the fighting field and off, as if we were indeed in the Middle Ages. I have learned many things about my friend. He is generous with his knowledge and his skills, and he loves to build things. He is generous with his time and is always willing to help others as we journey together in service to the dream. He is generous with his laughter and his love of life. His love for the society and the dream shines through in all his words and actions, as does his love for his lady and his children. I learned Corydon Rathbone is an honorable man, chivalrous and courteous to a fault. He has inspired me to acquire diverse knowledge and to share what I learned. I am honored that he names me his friend. Your Majesties, I commend Corydon Rathbone to you, for his is truly a generous and loving heart.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
We ask at this time that the personal regalia for Typhaine be brought forth, that it may be passed through the hands of those companions of the Laurel here present, so that the order is with him always, from this moment forward, and that he may remember this moment and these words forevermore.
Go down.
Her Grace Fina speak on the qualities of Typhaine.
It is my great honor to do so. I was given some good advice today when I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. And that was to start by letting you all know that it's hard to speak for someone who you think of as family. And it is hard. I met Typhaine when I still had babies. And she did it. she met her love because Tarek won a crown, which sounds funny, but ask her the story sometime. In the time that I have known her, Typhaine's wits are quick and sharp. And through the times that we've gone through together where we've seen births and deaths, and we have experienced all of that life together, those sharp wits have become softer and kinder. And she has sought to seek other people's points of view and other ways of looking at the world and other ways of relating to people. And in that, she has learned the skills that will guide her well in advising the royalty as she goes forward as a companion of the Order of the Laurel. And so, Your Majesties, I commend her to you.
Sir Jurgen, will you attest to her honor?
I will. We often speak of the virtues that we expect a peer to hold. They're all important, but they are not all the same. You can choose to have honor. You can choose to be courteous. You can choose to be loyal. You can choose to be generous. You can choose to have faith. And you can choose to be courageous. We make these choices every day, and those choices build up our character. There's one virtue, however, that we cannot just choose. The virtue I speak of is prowess. You must choose to pursue prowess, but there is no guarantee that you will achieve it. You must earn it by putting in time and effort. You must earn it by enduring the blood, sweat, and tears that occur from the inevitable failures along the way. The path to prowess is rarely easy. I've watched Typhaine pursue this path despite the frustrations, the setbacks, the difficulties. It required sacrifice of her time, of her energy, and yes, even the occasional sacrifice of actual blood. Nevertheless, she persisted. She overcame the challenges. Built her prowess and shared it widely. Today we are here to recognize those efforts. Your Majesty, Typhaine is worthy of inclusion in this order. She is my peer.
Mistress Aya, would you speak unto Typhaine's service?
I would. Each time a set of our royalty acknowledge a new peer, they are holding up an example of things that they value in our kingdom. We ask peers of other flavors to speak because we know it is not their prowess in their chosen art that makes them a peer, but their impact on the community at whole. As a Pelican, it's tempting to list off the lengthy resume of details and service along the way, but it is not what is on that resume that is important so much as the example that has been set in how it was done. Typhaine sets an example of self-awareness. She knows what she is good at, and she strives to find places to serve where she will shine. When she steps out of her comfort zone, it is because she values the impact that service will have on the people around her. She puts her whole heart into any task she takes, and if she finds that it is not a task well suited for her, or that she no longer has the resources to do it, she lets it go. Because it is more important that the job be done well than that she be the one seen as doing it. She is generous with her resources when she has them. She is strategic when she has fewer. She also exemplifies self-care. She knows that she is just as important as the people she is trying to help. And she knows that putting time and effort into herself and into her family not only is not selfish, but adds to the magic for the rest of us and makes her a better peer and a better person. Typhaine is an example of playing to your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, striving to keep the joy in a game that can sometimes be very difficult, and for refusing to play the game on any other terms but her own. These are qualities that I very much respect, and I am so pleased that our royalty has chosen to acknowledge them today.
Thank you, Joyce. Maestro Marguerite, I believe you have words from Magnifico Nico.
Indeed, it is with great personal pleasure and personal humility that I bring you words from Il Magnifico Niccolo Falconetto. Greetings to your majesties, highnesses, brothers and sisters of the Laurel, and assembled populace. It is with great pleasure that I speak to you unto Typhaine. In considering the qualities that exemplify gentility in the order of defense, we often look to the quality of spresatura, of having internalized grace so thoroughly that appears to be your natural condition and of no effort at all. Typhaine is the embodiment of this virtue. Thinking back, I can easily recall any time of her displaying less than phenomenal clothing and comportment, both within the society and outside of that, so that it would appear that there would be no effort at all on her part. Having attempted to display clothing, furnishings, and comportment at that level and regularly falling short, I can assure you that it is nowhere near as effortless as she would make it appear. I am honored to recognize her as my peer. And I am honored to recognize her as well, given that I fall so regularly short.
Thank you, Maestro. Lucina, would you speak as a member of the populace?
I'd be honored to remember. When I met Typhaine about 5 years ago, I was a lost soul. Still trying to find my path. I saw this beautiful woman, and I was like, I want to be like her. Just by visual. And then we sat and talked. We talked about sleep. I hate sleep. Okay, well, wow. And I mean, and then I moved away from camp and seen her love. But every time I see her, I look at the camp. This is what I want to be when I grow up. More and more, every day I want to be down when I grow up. And for that, I am honored to see them be the world. Thank you.
Corydon and Typhaine, right mindful of your skills in research and in the society and wishes of your peers, we resolve to create you the hands of the Lord. Know that to be a peer is to hold a sacred trust. The obligations will demand your efforts every moment of your life.
Duchess Lusa Della Casiago has words for the vigilance.
Good morning. A peer seeks excellence in all endeavors, not for their own good, but for the good of others. A peer values the contributions of others and does not boast of their own accomplishments. A peer is generous as their resources allow. A peer defends their kingdom, their family, and those that depend upon them. A peer must always seek justice that is truth tempered with mercy. A peer must have faith in their beliefs, and they remain loyal to the people, the ideals, and the precepts they value. A peer has courage to sacrifice for the precepts and the people that they value. And truly, a peer recognizes that nobility arises from the journey and not the destination.
Seek to emulate all of this as sincerely as possible, not for personal gain, but because it is right. Do not restrict your explorations to a small world, but seek to infuse every aspect of your life with these qualities. Should you succeed in even a tiny measure, then you will be well remembered for equality and universal. Knowing all of this, you desire a relationship. Will you pledge to continue to uphold the honor of the Lord? Will you increase your labors and talents? No as befits from your birth. And seek to extend your talents and abilities throughout the society. Will you teach and assist any dependents you may have to serve as minister?
Let the axe be brought forth, so that the vigilance may swear their fealty to the crown.
To ever enrich the crown, to be faithful and true, to love all that they love, and shun all that they shun, to remember courtesy and kindness, to prize justice above personal gain, to keep secret any counsel they entrust me, nor knowingly disclose it to their harm. To guide all who seek my talents and abilities. To diligently serve. And to light the way for all. Hereby my honor, my hand, and my heart and strength.
Hereby my hand, my heart, and my honor swear I.
We accept the gifts of your talents and knowledge and will rely on you to advise us wisely. As you light the way for Northshield with honor and charity, we will act towards you respectively in all things, protecting you with our aid and rewarding you with our love, but may all strength fail and the world turn against any who break their solemn oath. We call for the legacy medallion.
This medallion was first worn by Dana, and then Giovanna, Kanyak, Kinyu, Kevin, Aithne, Farisa, Myrid, Angus, Elion, Simon, Yvonne, Kurotoshikage, Edwin, Margaret, Nicolo, Juliana, Orla, Petronella, Bayard, Bartel, Guinevere, Guthorn, Ava, Sophonisba, Pietro, Kudrin, Eldred, Roder, Elizabeth, Guinevere, Frederick, Crispin, and Katerina.
Are there any other medallions? For Cora? Other than the one that I hold.
Now take from our hands
These
these the symbols of your order.
The laurel wreath,
which has ever stood for excellence.
which has ever stood for excellence,
As we have acknowledged your excellence this day.
as we have acknowledged your excellence this day. Rise, Corydon Rathbone, master of the laurel.
Vivat! Vivat!
stipulate. We will stipulate that. Now take our hands. These are symbol of the order.
The laurel wreath.
The laurel wreath,
Which has ever stood for excellence. As we have acknowledged your excellence this day.
Is there any other regalia for Typhaine?
Your Majesties, I actually have Laurel Dakota wreaths for both of them.
Oh! I always knew there was a secret Dakota ring.
Spins! Oh my
Rise, defend, mistress of the laurel. Yes, we do have another thing.
I get to bring the dagger from the place.
Not on the silk.
Figure out where it came from. For some reason, they included this leather thing, so it's safe, but it's off. Say anything about how we want to know the ones we cannot wear today. Even if it's she?
For those in the back, it is a beautiful dagger.
As etched with this scroll.
Oh, wow.
It was made by Master Jurgen. Engraved. For Master Corydon and Mistress Typhaine, newest companions of the Order of the Laurel, Vivant!
Viva!
Yes.
Thank you, good order.
Take them away.
If you can't stand, feel free to hang out.
It was.